Hey y'all, I'm Hope here at Crafty Hope and welcome. I'm doing a little bit of a warm up for Index Card a Day or ICAD. So I've been doing ICAD for, I don't even know, 10 plus years now. It is a challenge that comes from Tammy Garcia. You'll find her website as Daisy Yellow Art. She is Gypsy999 on Instagram, but the Index Card a Day profile is where you really want to go for ICAD content and prompts and all of that. I'll have that directed somewhere. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I decided to do a little bit of a warm up before ICAD actually starts. The whole premise of it is to take a 3x5 or 4x6 index card every day for the months of June and July and create something, create on it. So, like I said, I've been doing this for 10 plus years. It is a challenge I thoroughly enjoy and I think I get a lot out of, and I like to come in and inspire you as well to show you how a little bit of daily art can enhance your day and give you some ideas of what you can do with a little index card. Now, Tammy has prompts every day along with weekly themes. My friend Nina also has mixed media ICAD and has also daily prompts. So, as I work through ICAD, I will write down those prompts from both Tammy and Nina on the back of my card and take a look at them each day and then decide from there if I'm feeling inspired by them or not. The prompts are absolutely not necessary. If you just feel like making something specific on your index card, you don't have to use those prompts at all. And sometimes I don't either. So, like I said, I've been doing this for many, many years. And for the past several years, I've done a couple different things. One year, what year was that? 2023, I think. I learned embroidery stitches every day. But for the most part, for me, I start the way you can see me starting here with a little bit of collage. I'm using just an Uhu glue stick here, but sometimes I use other adhesives. So, like I said, I've been doing this for years, and some years I've done daily posts of videos of my CADs. Several years I've done where I've done like 3 at a time. And this year I decided I am going to offer these videos on Patreon because it is quite a bit of work to film and edit these videos every single day. So, if you are interested in seeing these videos from me, these I'm going to be making these daily. I cannot promise I will be posting them daily on on Patreon, because that's just, yeah, who knows what a day holds. But I will have every single one of the 61 videos up for you. And this one's just a little teaser to show you kind of how I work through one of these cards. Like I said, I used a bit of Uhu glue stick there to stick all of that down. Most of that was just scraps, different bits of paper in a scrap bin. Sometimes I go in with one whole piece, whatever. And then I've got this hardware cloth drywall tape. That's what it is. It's a drywall joint tape. Anyway, I'm sticking that down because it adds some great texture to these cards. So I'm gonna get that, and that one strip I kind of put long ways across, like, a fourth of the way down. Had some really interesting colors in that, and that is definitely going to get me interested. So as you can see right now, I'm kind of picking through things, trying to find something else to stick on here. I pull out another folder that has some other papers in it, and I'll cut down a piece of, it's just some paint on, I think, deli paper. So I'm going to cut that out and also stick it down and go from there. So the whole Patreon thing, basically you just kind of pay a monthly membership. So since ICAD is 2 months, it would be, you'd pay for the months of June and the months of July. And and then you'll get to see my videos. I'm also hoping to have some, at least once a month, some kind of download. I haven't completely decided what that's going to be. It could be yearbook photos from old yearbooks, or it could be some of these background images or words that I try to use, or it's going to be something. There's going to be some kind of digital download. So if you want to go check out my Patreon, if you're here on my Patreon, thank you for that. But if I do have this on YouTube, and please consider joining my channel, and you'll get all kinds of content from me. And like I said, during the months in June and July, that will be almost daily. There'll be at least one video for every day. Whether or not I post that every day, we will see. So I decided to push this back a little bit with some white gesso, and I've got a brayer there to help me push that around a little bit. I did spread it out with a palette knife just to give it more of an organic feel. I do like most everything to stick down nicely, so I'm going to make sure it's stuck. And yeah, I'm going to move that. And I have to say, I really love how this card came together. And I wouldn't have shared it with you if I didn't, especially for this teaser post for Patreon. I'll go ahead and admit that. But yeah. So, but you will get to see every one of the ICADs I do create, whether I like them or not. We'll see how it goes. I have had this mucky thing of water on my desk for a couple days now. I realized I'd used some black gesso, and the brushes I had used with it are still in that mucky water. So I've been just kind of stretching out this gross kind of blackish water because it adds a really great grungy feel. So as you can see, I put that around on a couple different places on my card, and then I'm splattering it around. Now I'm going to try that real quick. Before I move on, I have clipped that down so you don't have to watch, that process. And from there, like I said, I had that bar across the, running running horizontally across the upper third or so of the card, and I could see this bit of like a peachy pink and yellow combined on there, and I was really, really loving that. So I was like, you know what, let's see what we can do with that. And I pulled out, these are some watercolor samples from, I believe it's Masha's Handmade Watercolors. These were gifted to me by my friend Nina Fickett. She absolutely loves these paints, and I have been coming to love them as well, playing with them a little bit. So I picked out two of them. The reddy one is called Peach, and then that yellowy one I believe is Tiger Eye. And I'm just blending them together a little bit, and then to kind of push them back a little, I'm absolutely just using my finger. I found that they were not pinky enough for me. Like I needed something that was truly a little more pink. So I reached over and grabbed this thing of acrylic craft paint. Y'all, this is some really, really old paint. In fact, it was an absolutely different color. And when the bottle got low, I added some white acrylic paint to it to revive it, and now I have this paint. So I can't tell you what color it is because it's altered a bit. So I added just a little bit of touch of that to get that pink I wanted on there. And as you can see, I pulled out, these are some gold flakes, I think they're called. They're from Dollar Tree. I know Dollar Tree has them in like gold and a copper and a silver. So I decided I wanted some touches of gold on here. And I'm using, again, just my Oohoo glue stick. And I've got some tweezers there to help me pull out some of these gold flakes from the container. But that's it, is this Dollar Tree thing, tweezers, and a glue stick. And I'm putting a little bit of glue down and a little bit of those gold flakes and using my finger to kind of brush them out to give them, again, I really like a more organic feel of things. I don't care for sharp edges or, I don't know, really harsh lines. So unless I'm purposefully adding them, I say I don't like harsh lines, but I like it to feel kind of magical and enchanted and that kind of thing, and just like it's been outside, worn away, very wabi-sabi. So that's the look I'm trying to get there. I don't want big circles of gold on there. So I'm putting this down and I'm using kind of the rule of odds. Odd numbers, things in odd numbers are more appealing to the eye for some reason. I don't know why. 3 is definitely the magical portion of that, but I couldn't stop at 3. I got 3 places of this gold down and I was like, no, keep going. This is too much fun. So I did. I kept going. So I end up with 5, so I don't end up just covering this whole thing in gold. But I was having a lot of fun with this. You'll see I've got, I will always put some detail pictures at the end of these videos so you can get a better look at them. I know how hard it is to see exactly what I'm doing and the marks that are made on here sometimes. So I will always take some good pictures and put them at the end of these videos. So once I got all of that down, I knew it was time to start gearing myself towards some kind of focal on here. Now, I don't always put like a focal, but in this case, I was like, yeah, I need a little something. So to help me kind of visualize this as a completed piece, I am framing it up with a little bit of Distress ink and walnut stain. I'm applying that using an ink blender, but if you just wanted to use the side of the ink pad or maybe a Q-tip or something like that, that always works as well. I was really feeling the itch to stitch. I usually am. Like I said, 2 years ago, I did a whole thing on embroidery. So I thought, okay, well, I'll put some fabric down and here's some embroidery floss that's already on a needle. And how about some buttons, and start pulling all this stuff out, just trying to see how it all would come together. And I was not loving the color of that fabric. And that just happened to be a little snippet of fabric that was on my desk. And something about the color of it just wasn't working for me. I am sorry if you can hear a cat meowing in the background. My elderly cat likes to scream at me a lot. So prepare yourself. So I had the buttons there and I was thinking, you can see I'm kind of just sitting there and I'm thinking, what do I want to do? And I decided I needed just a touch more movement and scratchiness in the background. So I've got a cheap mechanical pencil and I held it way at the top of it to make it super loose and did some scribbling. From there, I decided all I really needed was some kind of sentiment on here. So I grabbed a pouch I have with some different like chunky sentiments and immediately pulled out this one that says believe. Now I'm going to ink up the edges of it as well, which helps continue that feeling of the way I inked up the outside. I really do like things kind of corresponding to one another, but I did not like the outer edges of this chunky word. So I thought, okay, well, what if I could have peeled the back off and made it thinner, but I liked the chunkiness. It was just that like cardboard that was showing. So I thought about adding some black paint pen and was like, no, what if I did gold? Because then it would match the gold. Like I said, like the continuation of things on there. So I tried a gold paint pen, didn't care for that. Tried putting some of my glue stick on the edge and then the gold flakes on the edge. And y'all look, it's just moving around. It is not wanting to stick at all. So I'm going to wipe that off and think on it for a second before I come to the idea of using some rub and buff in gold leaf. Because I used the gold flakes, I decided gold leaf. So I'm going to just use my finger to apply that. And this is a lot of what many of my ICADs are bringing in, doing a little bit of experimentation, bringing in all kinds of elements and things. I am also an assemblage and jewelry artist. So, sometimes some of those tools and things do come in. I'm sorry I got a little out of frame there, but I promise you I am just putting a little bit of that rub and buff on my finger and then spreading it out along the edges of this little chipboard piece. Now I also kind of spread it across the front so that it is a little more visible. So, if you're not viewing it from the side, you'll still see that gold. Now I am going to do that bit of buffing on it. It is rub and buff it up just a little bit and also push back a little bit of that gold that got on the top. from there, it's time to start bringing it together. I thought I was going to bring these buttons in, but you can see they don't really stand out. I put them there at the bottom and they look like wheels on that word, and I was like, oh no, I am done with that. So I moved those buttons away and pulled out my E6000. It was a little glumpy, so it's going to take me a second to get it on. Yeah, I got to clean it out, everything. I'm trying to use up the rest of this container. So yeah, so I got it on the back, and I'm going to put it on my card right where I want it. And I will end up clamping it with a clothespin in a minute because I'm going to start stitching here. So I'll tie a knot in the end of my bit of thread. Like I said, this was just excess thread on my table. And one of my favorite things to add when I do stitching is just some French knots. They're like mark making, but with thread. And so, yeah. So I'm not going to explain in this video exactly how to do a French knot. I don't know that I struggled with it a little bit on this one because I didn't have quite as much thread as I would like. And but definitely if you sign up for the Patreon and check it out, you'll get to see that at some point again. Now, I won't exclude all of my YouTube viewers. I will put up a couple of my ICADs on YouTube, but it's not going to be the full content that my patrons are going to get. It's either going to be fast forwarded without my talking, or something along those lines, or maybe just audio. I'm not sure, or maybe just one of them a week, something along those lines. It's not going to be every single one of my ICADs. So keep that in mind, that if you enjoy watching these kind of videos, that you might want to go check out, the deal I've got on Patreon. And if you are on Patreon and you have any suggestions for me, since I'm new at this, I would love to hear, any kind of tips you have. So I am, like I said, putting just a few French knots. I'm going to get right at the end, going to get super fiddly and not have as much thread as I like when I go to tie it off on the back. But once I get these stitches all on here, that's exactly what I'm going to do, is tie it off on the back and remove my paper clip, and this ICAD warm up will be done. It came together a lot better than I had hoped for not having any kind of prompt or anything, and I hope that's a good sign for what the next 2 months hold for us. And if you're doing ICAD, let me know so I can make sure I'm following you. Let me know what your social medias are, and I look forward to the next 2 months. And then after that, if you do become my patron, I am hoping to have additional videos at least once a week, along with, again, digital downloads of different fun things. Thank you so much for watching this. Let me know if you have any questions about any of it, and let's get this party started. Who's ready for ICAD? Thanks, y'all. Bye.